What's going on, YouTube? JT's Reborn, back again with another comic book review. This time I'm going to be talking about Adventures of the Super Sons, issue number 1. Now, it was very unfortunate earlier on in this year when we found out the news that Super Sons was being canceled. You know, most likely because of Brian Michael Bendis' plans for Superman and Dan DiDio and all of them kind of giving Peter J Tomasi the shaft. But there was an issue with that. Super Sons was very beloved. It was one of DC's best-selling titles. It was super popular. In fact, it was the buzz around it was off the charts. It was lighthearted, it was fun, it did a great job establishing who these two characters are. It showcased their difference, and it showcased their, eventual friendship over the course of the issues. The dynamic between Damian Wayne and Jonathan Kent was absolutely outstanding. You had Damian, who was more, mischievous. He definitely had his more stubborn side. John was more hopeful and optimistic. You paired the two of them together, it was beautiful. There was an innocence to it. There was a sense of fun. And the writing was spectacular. Peter J Tomasi was writing it, who's basically my favorite comic book writer right now. Anything this man touches is gold. Like I said, I got to go back and read some of his older stuff, but since I started getting back into comics, reading Rebirth, he has been by far the best person writing anything. And it's a real shame that he got kicked off of Superman to see what they're doing with Brian Michael Bendis and possibly getting rid of the Lois and John relationship. Or not pretty much the Lois and Clark relationship and casting John off into space. And, you go to look at Teen Titans, they're kind of regressing Damian. It's really unfortunate what's happening. So this is a 12-issue maxi series, and this pretty much signals the end of Super Sons. Unless, of course, DC realizes the error of their ways and realizes, hey, people actually like this thing. They like this fun, hopeful, optimistic, upbeat, positive, comic book. This really lighthearted sense of fun. And, reading this compared to everything else that came out this past week, it's wow, there's, a huge, huge difference. This one, I'm wow, this is something I enjoy. This is something that makes me happy when I read it. Because when I'm reading everything else, I'm just there's still some good stuff out there, but I'm and don't get me wrong, I like dark stories when they're appropriate. And I like lighthearted stories when they're appropriate. And this is a fun, lighthearted story. And it continues off the events of the previous Super Sons issue, but it's set before, the Superman special. So this is kind of an in-between series that's set right after Super Sons ended and right before, the Superman, Rebirth special or whatever, the Man of Steel special that Bendis wrote. And God, it's so unfortunate Tomasi got booted off that. Him and Patrick Gleason were such a great team. I don't know why DC would shelve something that was, selling pretty well and very well liked. It's because they're trying to go to this more darker side. You just look at the way the heroes are handled. Just look at look at the difference between the writing in this thing and Teen Titans issue number 20. Now, like I said, there's a lot I liked about that issue, but I don't like how they regressed Damian in that issue, and I don't like how John was treated in, Bendis' Man of Steel. So it's so weird to go from that and going back to this, which is actually really good. So it just, it frustrates me because I'm this should be where the characters are at. This should be how they're progressing. You know what? Damian and John should be on the Teen Titans together. There's no reason they should not be. You got all these new characters that they added in, Jin, Roundhouse, and Crush. When you could have added characters like John, you could have added characters like Maya Ducard or John's friend Kathy. I would have loved to have seen that. But I'm cool with new characters, but at the same time, the Teen Titans are going this real edgelord stuff, and it's different, I understand that, but it's basically Teenage Suicide Squad. And when I read Teen Titans, I don't necessarily want to read Teenage Suicide Squad. I'm going to give it a chance to see where it goes, but I'm not a fan of the character regression, the sadistic nature of what they were doing with Damian, because he made so much progress in this thing, and then it just seems like it's thrown out the window. But enough of that bullshit. Let's talk about Adventures of the Super Sons. It's a fantastic issue. It's a great restart thing. It feels like Tomasi hasn't missed a beat. It's funny, it's upbeat, it's lighthearted, and it has a setup for, things to come. So let's kind of go over and scroll over some pages. So as we see earlier on, by the way, Jorge Jimenez right here. God, that beautiful artwork right there. So great. But anyway, so the issue begins. We see Damian doing battle with a Superman statue. John is just kind of joking around with them. There's some really funny stuff between these two in this issue. You see John joking around with Damian, who's getting kind of beaten up by this Superman statue. Then all of a sudden Damian figures out that there's some dude behind it trying to use the statue to for money and stuff, and he's just there's a really funny part where Damian gets control of the statue. He's I mean, what's this button do? And then he just starts beating up John. He's like, hey, what are you doing? And then he just smirks. Like, shit like that is gold. Like, I mean, it's just the right amount of dickish nature from Damian, but it's also like, it's upbeat, it's lighthearted, it's nothing too serious. Like, hey, what's this one do? And it's like, oh, come on, man. Because they give each other crap. They're two kids. They do give each other crap. But the dynamic is gold. It's so enjoyable. And it takes me back to when I was younger with some of my friends. We'd hang out. We give each other shit. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we're friends. We had our different personalities and stuff. But it was a good time. And, obviously the Super Sons are back. Then we see somebody who's going after the Super Sons. And we do find out in a second. Obviously, basically, this is set at the end of the school year. And summer vacation is about to happen. And I'm kind of disappointed. I wish I could have gotten some issues with them at school. It really is kind of upsetting that Damian and John, we never really got to see them like at school all that much. I mean, obviously, John's kind of this popular upbeat kid. Damian, like, there's a funny bit where he was writing some like college thesis type paper, and his teacher's like, Damian, you did way too much. He's like, well, then I hope you enjoy your summer reading. So he's like, I expect my points there. And then obviously the kids go and they get invited to, if you look right here, they get invited to some, girls' pool party. And I actually kind of wish that they actually went to the pool party instead of just going off on adventures, because I just like to see these characters interact in like, the real world, not necessarily just doing superhero things. I could honestly read like 10 issues of them not even doing any superhero stuff, just them kind of living their lives. That's the strength of the writing. That's the strength of the characters. That's just the strength of Tomasi and everything that goes on with it. So I would have appreciated just some issues of that. So great stuff. So anyways, then eventually they go back to their, little superhero cave, or, their little superhero base. They find something. They fight like this little like bad guy, this little clay face type looking monster. Damian gets kind of beaten up. John gets beaten up. And then we see like this new gang that's going to take them kind of like on like across the universe and like a hunting ground. So we got like a mini Legion of Doom here, and I think this is both adorable and very funny. Just seeing them get their own little mini Legion of Doom. So you got like Brainiac, number 6. You got basically like little like Kid Deadshot here. You got Rex Luthor, and then you got Joker Jr. You got this dude here, and you have Ice Princess. I think that's supposed to be like Captain Cold, but I'm very curious about like how Ice Princess is going to factor in. But like, look at this, and Joker Jr. kind of looks like Damian, so something tells me that they're from like some other universe. Well, actually, they are, and they're fans of the Super Sons, and in another world, the Super Sons are like their villains, and they really want to go toe-to-toe with them as a challenge. And yeah, so they see it as a challenge. So it's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of the Predator, in that the Predator hunts for sport. These guys are going to put them in a challenge across the universe, and it's going to be a blast. And that's basically kind of where we leave off. And Rex Luthor right here, look at his crazy face. Like, it's mini-me Lex Luthor, which is hilarious, because it's mini-me Lex Luthor. It's just a kid version who thinks he's Lex Luthor. And then you have Robin over there who's like, huh. And then you have Superboy kind of getting his ass kicked. And, the issue ends, and, we set up for the next thing. And obviously, rest in peace, Steve Ditko. But yeah, so we get a set up for the next issue, which comes out next month. I don't know I think it's like the first week of September. And I'm very much looking forward to that. It's such a refreshing book. It's so refreshing to see something like this and like a state of like, dark and grimness that's kind of hits the stuff since like after Action Comics 1000. Basically, Action Comics 1000 felt like the end of like that hopeful, optimistic, take on the superheroes, which is what DC Rebirth was doing, which is what people were liking. And before they start to go back to like that, really depressing, no heroes can be happy kind of bullshit. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the rest of Adventures of the Super Sons. I get it for a whole year. So at least once a month I can look forward to reading Super Sons Adventures with Peter J Tomasi writing. And I think the best thing that we have to do as fans of this type of content, go out and support this book. In fact, support this book more than the actual Superman thing. If DC sees that the sales for this are on par, if not better, than what's going on with, Bendis' Superman run, then it goes to show them, like, hey, we want these type of stories. We want the more, like, upbeat, kind of positive, fun superhero comic book stories. Like with comic books. Like, I like a bit of everything when it comes to my comic books, but I really, really loved the story of the Super Sons. It was like kind of like it was like manga. It was a manga, like a Western manga repackaged with the Sons of Batman and the Sons of Superman. And it's fun. It's a really, really good time. And it's unfortunate that the series had to get canceled so Bendis could just do whatever the hell he wanted, and Tomasi got booted off, which is complete bullshit when he's your best writer. And Super Sons is a very beloved title. It's beloved by me. It's beloved by countless fans. You look at, like, the comments for, like, if you go to, like, DC's Twitter pages and stuff, you look at, like, the thoughts on, like, certain comic books, Super Sons is, like, pretty much overwhelmingly positive. There's almost never any sort of like negative comments about the issues because people love this stuff. Even people who don't necessarily like Damian Wayne as a character grew to like him in Super Sons. Like, you know what? I don't like him, but I like him in this. And you got to appreciate that. But the sad thing about this is it's just a maxi series. It's only going to be 12 issues, which is bullshit because Super Sons should be going on a lot longer than that. Why is it that a book that's well received, well liked, and sells pretty well gets shafted, but some books just keep going on and on? It doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. Super Sons honestly should have been a twice a month book because it's that fucking good. But yeah, I am disappointed that, you know, this is like, it's not like still like a, you know, a typical ongoing series. But, I mean, this is a good starting point for new readers who didn't read the previous run. It tells you, like, who the characters are. And it just reminds me why I'm, like, super disappointed with the way things are going now with the characters. And I'm like, God damn, you're regressing so much in these other books. They should not be regressing like that. Jonathan Kent is not... Like, this Jonathan Kent and this Damian Wayne are completely different from the Damian Wayne we see in Teen Titans and the Jonathan Kent that, you know, Bendis wrote. Like, Jonathan Kent was exceptional. He was not your angsty kid, like, who would just, like, disobey all his parents' orders. Like, he'd be, like, you know, he's more obedient. He's different. He's more optimistic. He's, you know, really upbeat and positive. I know I've said upbeat and positive probably like 1,000 goddamn times in this video, but you get my point. Jonathan Kent is that, you know, what is the definition I'm looking for? No, not nihilistic. The aspirational type hero. So, yeah. That's that. But yeah, anyways, go ahead and leave your comments below. Let me know what you thought of The Adventures of the Super Sons #1. Again, for me, artwork looks great. I love the concepts. I think it's adorable. It's fun. The writing is good. I think I've said that again, but you know, you get my point. Everything about this issue works. Go support Super Sons. Go read the old Super Sons stuff. Go read the crossovers. Go read pretty much anything Peter J Tomasi writes. I'll read. That man is gold. I'm very much looking forward to when he takes over Detective Comics. I hope he writes some good Batman and Robin stuff in there because, fuck, Batman has not been around his son. There's not been a single Batman and Robin related issue in fucking anything in so long, and I can't remember the last time. Let me know in the comments below, when's the last time you saw just a Batman and Robin type issue? Because it's not being written in, like, King's Batman run. It's like he writes that, like, nobody else pretty much seems to exist except, like, maybe, like, Duke Thomas and, you know, Catwoman. Once in a great while, you'll see, like, the other Robins and Bat family members. Dick Grayson, you'll see probably the most, but, like, you don't see, like, anyone else. It's like, where is everybody? Shouldn't all these people be interacting more and more? It's very unfortunate. So, but yeah, I'm so happy for Super Sons to come back, and I very much look forward to issue #2. The gang's all here. So, this issue was a nice palate cleanser after some of the other crap I read this week. So, yeah. Alright, that's all I got to say. Thank you so much for reading, everybody. Leave your comments below. Hit that little bell for notifications. Subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you thought of Super Sons, or The Adventures of Super Sons #1. Let me know what other videos I should do. Again, this is another, like, unscripted comic book review because I'm just like, I could go and write something, but at the same time, just like, I just kind of want to get my thoughts out there, and maybe I, like, notice things that I didn't before and such. So, that's all I got to say. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Take care now. Bye-bye then. Have a good one.